All right, I think that's long enough for ambient sound. Well, hello there, party people. Sam is back, and it is time for my January wrap-up. In January, I read 6 books, which, is a much more manageable pace than the pace I was going at the end of 2020. In my pursuit to get to 100 books in a year, I was doing like 10, 11, I think 14 books was my largest in a month, 16. I'll have to go back and double check because I don't remember. But so the last quarter of 2020 was crazy. So 6 books is a lot more, of a relaxing, manageable pace. So if I hit 100 again, that will be awesome, but it is not my goal. And the only reason I was able to do it last year was because of the horrific year that it was. Not that 2021 is going to promise to be any better, but here's hoping. So the first book that I read in January was My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I've been wanting to read this one for a while, and I finally got the chance to. Man, it gave me all the ickies. Is about a young girl who has an affair with her teacher, and he gives her the book Lolita, and she just, it takes her whole life believing that she loved this man, and it I don't want to give too much away because really explaining everything that happens sort of will lessen the impact of the ending, I believe. So the ending does give you a little bit of hope, and that this character can be happy, and but the journey is her getting to that point, and the book did what it was supposed to do. It was very good, very well written. I really enjoyed it. And I had never read Lolita. So I decided that's what I was going to do. So I wasn't quite ready to leave the dark headspace. So then I moved on to reading Lolita. That was special. I have a hard time with this book. I had a friend ask me, it is by Vladimir Nabokov. I had a friend ask me, is this book good? I want to read it. And I had a hard time answering that question because the one mark of a good book to me is, did it do its job? Did it make me feel creeped out? Did it make me feel happy? Did it make me cry? Did it make me feel hopeful? What the book is set out to do, did it make me feel those things? Lolita is extremely effective in what it makes you, in what it wants you to feel. So I felt icky and gross and uncomfortable, and sometimes it was funny. This book has a weird way of making you almost not feel bad for, not root for, but it makes you empathize with the adult in this story. And when you feel empathy for that person, you're like, oh, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. The book is very effective for what it does. It has some really good wordplay. I think the writing is very, there's a reason that it's held up for as long as it has. It's quippy, it can be really witty, and he has a lot of great wordplay. There are some really good in-depth reviews on Goodreads. So if you really want to know some of the stuff, go read some of those reviews because they wrap things up in an eloquent way, a more eloquent way than I think I could. But the book is effective. And so I told my friend, it's not a book that I think is good, but it is a book that I can appreciate. So it's not going to be on any top lists of mine, but it is something that I appreciate as a literary piece of work. But the content's kind of icky. The next book that I read was The Amityville Horror by Jay Anson. So this is about the Lutz family, and they moved into a house that was previously owned by the DeFeo family. Now, the father of the DeFeo family claimed that he heard voices, things were making him see things, do things he didn't want to do, and he ended up murdering his entire family and a few of his extended family. And then move in the Lutzes. this beautiful new home. They didn't think they'd be able to afford it, but lo and behold, they can, because there was a mass homicide there. So the Lutz family moves into this house. There's 3 children, wife, father, and their dog. As a horror fan, I am familiar with the Amityville story, and I know that it is based on a true story. Now, how true that story is, no one will ever actually know. The Lutz family was known to have some financial issues, and it is widely speculated that they made up this story to sell it to get out from underneath that financial burden that they had. Is that true? I don't know. The priest in the story, also a real person. Like, these are real people, you know. It just the haunting of the house, they can't substantiate. Now, weird things have happened. People report feeling strangely when they walk by it, drive by it, visit it. The house has also changed addresses, so the numbers have changed on it since the Lutz family has lived there too, probably so they could sell it. But multiple families have lived there afterwards, and no one was reported seeing anything else. So I leave that up to you if you believe that the Amityville Horror was true or not. The 4th book that I read in January is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This came to me through Once Upon a Book Club box, and I did open all my presents, all my gifts through it. Now, I'm going to do something else. I'm making decisions, okay, on this channel, so I'm making decisions. What fun is it opening a box when you can't show anyone what's inside it? So I'm not going to do the vlogs because, again, it'll be forever until I, just not going to do it that way. So my live unboxings of everything goes on my TikTok and my Instagram Reels. But I still want to be able to show you here if you don't want to follow on those platforms, which is perfectly fine. You don't have to. I also want to show you here what I got. So when I do an unboxing of a new box that came in, which one just came in yesterday. So next week you'll see the unboxing of that, and then I'll show you what came with the other ones, and then I'll link to the unboxing video. So it's all that stuff. You will see here what I got in those boxes, so then you can best decide if you would like a box like this. I'm not sponsored or affiliated in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a big fan of this box, and I think it's really fun to be that interactive with the product. But I digress. So The Midnight Library is about a girl named Nora who is near death, and she ends up in this between realm called the Midnight Library. So this lovely library full of books. They're all like green in color and different shades of green, and they are all her potential lives. So her root life, we think, may be ending. We don't know yet. So she has a chance to choose a different life. So she goes through all of her regrets in life that she didn't want to quit this thing. She didn't want to stop doing that thing. She would have pursued this other thing. So she gets to live these lives where she made different choices and then choose the life that is perfect for her. So if her root life disappears, she can continue to live and have another chance at life. So it is a beautiful story. I really enjoyed it. Some of the reviews, people thought that it could go deeper into, the emotions and the metaphysical and the multiverse theory and stuff like that. So a lot of people wanted this book to be deeper. I thought it was just right. I thought it was something that gets you to think. The writing is pretty straightforward and very well done. I really enjoyed Nora. It is a little repetitive. So there were moments when I was like, oh my gosh, we've been over this like 8 times. So it is a little repetitive, which stops it from being like a 5-star read for me. But it's more in the 3.5 to 4 range. So only because of its repetitiveness. But I really enjoyed this book. It was one of the better ones that I read this month, and I was really happy with it. So yay, Once Upon a Book Club box. Go club blah. Blah. The next book that I read is an audiobook, and it's actually an audio drama that was adapted from a graphic novel to an audio play, and that is The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, and it was adapted for audio play by Dirk Maggs. I really loved this. The cast was amazing, and I'm kind of sad that the live show isn't casting some of these people. How great would it be to see Kat Denning as Death, as well as play it in the audio theater version, and to have, I don't necessarily, I think I'm blanking on his name, and I just had it. Oh my gosh. And I love everything he's in. I gotta look this up. Hold on. Because my brain just stopped working. I'm gonna feel like an ass. James McAvoy. Oh, yep, I am an ass. So James McAvoy is the voice of Dream, of Morpheus. And I don't know if I necessarily think he would translate on screen, but he should definitely be someone in the show. I think the person that they picked, I don't know who he is, but I've seen his picture. He looks fantastic. So I'm really excited for the live version of this. The audio play is wonderful, and I really, really loved it. Being part of a couple different audio plays. There was an old one that I was in and it's sort of lost audio. We actually need to track it down. We talked about that last week. Okay. It's from Not Another Podcast, and it's called Not Another Newscast. And it was just this dying news station, and it was a comedy, and the anchor used to be this really, who I played used to be this really like high quality anchor. And then she did something wrong, and then she's just now a mess of a human trying to hold it together in this little station. It was really funny. Highly inappropriate. So definitely not safe for work if those audio files are ever recovered and released upon the world. I apologize ahead of time. And then there's It's All Been Done Radio Hour, which is, so a lot of work goes into an audio play. And then one that is going right now is called Homestead, which is basically an post-apocalyptic world. And it's really awesome. So, being part on both sides of the audio plays is definitely something that I enjoy, and I really like when it's done well. The final book that I read in January, I won on a Goodreads giveaway. So I won an ebook download. I was pretty excited about it. I've seen it everywhere. The cover looks really cool. But it's called BriefHorrible Moments, a collection of one-sentence horror stories, and it's by Marco Pandza. This book was so weird. I have a lot of thoughts about it. I can't say that it's not the best thing in the world, but okay. Let me put it this way. There are some sections of the book that those one-sentence horror stories are very effective. Like the 6-second or the 6-word stories, people do those all the time. It's really great exercise to sort of get your juices flowing. And so cool. So I appreciate what he does. And someone who writes flash fiction, like I get it, getting a short story, getting something small, across to an audience and to creep someone out in that little bit of time is tough to do. So what he's doing is hard, but and some of them were very effective. There's a section on like food and eating that all like those got me, and that section was mercifully short. So I was like, ugh. So there's some creepy stuff in there. There's some that are really funny, really tongue-in-cheek, really cheesy, and there's some that are just plain dumb, and some that just don't make any sense. Like there's one, I read it out loud to my boyfriend, and I'm like, I don't understand what this means. How can his hand do this when there's one of... It made zero sense, and I don't know what he was going with that. So that's the one that kind of changed my mind from this is cool to why are we just letting people publish their ideas book? Like this was just like a small journal that you keep in your pocket or in your purse or in your car or wherever, and you just jot down ideas to expound upon later. So why are we just publishing why are we publishing people's discards? It almost felt like. And I hate saying that because it directly contradicts what I said about I understand that some of the things he's done is very effective in this little book. But I don't know, I guess I kind of, the ones that just aren't good enough to match up to the ones that are, they just shouldn't be there. If it's not, consistency was hard for me in this one. Because you'd have a whole section that I'm just like, okay. And then one that's like, ooh, that was creepy. Okay, that was funny. So it's just, consistency, I think, was my issue with this one. It was very inconsistent. And that is my reading wrap up for January. So hopefully you found something that you would like to read. And if your tastes are anything like mine and the ones that I didn't like, you might want to avoid or, you know, whatever. I'm going to head out. I hope you have an awesome reading day, and I don't know, let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you read in January, and I will talk to you all later. Don't forget to, I don't know, click all the buttons, follow me in the places, and until next time, bye. So the moment I ended my January wrap up, I remembered there was a whole section that I forgot to talk about, and that was this really cool new website that I found called the Storygraph. Now, it is a book tracking site that it would like to rival Goodreads, as Goodreads is owned by Amazon. So it's pretty neat. You can actually import your entire Goodreads library, although you should double check that everything imported over, because it's not, you know, that's not a perfect, sometimes it's not perfect. So you just want to make sure that you have credit for everything you're reading. Now, what is so cool about this site is the breakdown that it gives you. So let's see if I can show you. So I'm actually going to move my camera over so we can get this over here. Okay. So you're over there. So thestorygraph.com is pretty neat. Okay, so Loom, oh my gosh. Okay, so this is pretty neat. So in the month of January, like I said, I read 6 books, and that comes out to 1,534 pages. So the moods that I primarily read are dark, reflective, emotional, challenging, tense, mysterious, hopeful, and adventurous. So 4 books were dark, 2 books reflective, 2 were emotional, 2 were challenging, 1 tense, 1 mysterious, 1 hopeful, 1 adventurous. So that was my primary moods that I was in. And then we move on to pace. Did you read fast, medium, or slow? 3 of the books I read fast, 2 I read slowly, and 1 I read at a medium pace. And then you come to your page number. So I read half of my books were under 300 pages, and the other half were between 300 and 499. And then fiction versus nonfiction. Nonfiction, I only read 1, and fiction, I read 5. And then it goes into your genres. Did you read thriller? So my tops were thriller, horror, and fantasy, and then contemporary, short stories, and literary. And then my average rating for the month was 3.25. It says I only rated 4 books. So that's fine. I don't care. So my average rating is 3.25 for that month. So this is pretty cool. I like the stats that they give you, and you can compare it from last year. So I can compare last year's January to this year's January, which is pretty neat. So we've got 2020 January, and let's compare. Yeah, so my moods haven't changed much. Adventurous, emotional, tense, inspiring, joyful, relaxing, and then you can just compare your month to month, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so I like the Storygraph, and I'll probably be incorporating this into my reading. That's to my all-time. Whatever, you get the idea. I'll probably be incorporating this into my wrap-ups because I like the stats and I think they're fun, and hopefully this wasn't too jarring of a transition to put into the video, and then we'll probably just go to the outro from here. Bye.